Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tarda Zone and the Tarda Zone Talks. And we've got another sack of shit to call out tonight because, right, whatever you do in your private home, right, is your own business, right? And if you like to, as a bloke, you like to do stuff to pictures and stuff like that, that's your own business, what you do in the comfort of your own home. But if you're going to post it on Twitter for everybody to see, um, and especially do it to a woman who was connected to Doctor Who. Now, I mightn't like Jodie Whittaker as an actress and stuff like that, but I have to say, what I've just seen, I seen Jodie Whittaker was trending, right, on Twitter. And as I always do, because I'm always curious when Jodie Whittaker is trending. And most of the posts are about the Comic-Con that recently happened, and people are throwing up the photographs. But as I was scrolling down, I came across this video from an account, and let's just say it's filthy. It's the kindest way I could put it. Now, I've taken some screenshots. Now, don't worry, folks. You don't see anything in the screenshots that's offensive. I've made sure before took the screenshots that I censored certain things because obviously, we don't want to get into trouble. Now, just to let you know what the reason why I'm doing this stream is because obviously if you're on Twitter, the link to the Twitter account is in the link description to this video because I would like you to all go in and report it. Now, listen, I get criticized all the time for coming down hard on Jodie Whittaker and stuff like that. I will not tolerate this kind of behavior on Twitter. Listen, I'm not Twitter police. I'm not acting like that or acting, but you don't degrade women like that. At the end of the day, as I said, whatever you do in your own private time at home, right, is nobody's business, to be quite honest with you. But if you're going to post that online for everybody to see, well, then that's when it becomes a different topic of conversation. It's absolutely disgusting. Now, I have to be careful what words I use, but let's just say he, what's the word I can use? He pleasured himself. He had Jodie Whittaker's images up on his computer, and he positioned the laptop in a way that you could see the laptop. He was obviously recording off a phone or something like that, and then he proceeded to pleasure himself, and he literally finished on his computer. That's the polite way, I suppose I can put it. So I'm just going to show you the name of the Twitter account. I'm not going to show you the video, obviously, because I can't do that. Because there's no way of censoring that video, trust me. Yes, that's exactly what he did. Gary B put it in the nicest way possible. That's exactly what he did. Yes, he choked it. So there's his account there. The video is actually on top. He posted it 9 hours ago and it's still up on Twitter. So I'd just like to say to Elon Musk, you're all for taking porn and all child exploitation stuff off. Well, you're obviously not doing your job quick enough because I'm not going to show it. Don't worry. The video is underneath there. I am not showing it. Don't you worry. I am not. I'm just showing you your man's account because I would like you to report that account. Now, as I said, it's in the link description. I'm not even going to throw up the photographs, even though they are edited, because you don't actually need to see what pictures he's actually used, to be quite honest with you. But that's the Twitter account. Now, I'm not going to show the video. Obviously, I'm not. Can't do that. I'd get into trouble myself, which is absolutely ridiculous. But we have seen a trend in this fandom lately right? Okay, you seen the video that I showed here? Gobby obviously was the first person to do the video on a particular YouTuber. He put out a video and he said some sexist things and things that you wouldn't say about a young woman live on stream. He said some despicable things, and then later on, then we heard the attack that he made on RTD, which was absolutely disgusting, a homophobic attack on RTD, and now we have this. And now we have this rubbish. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been some art and shipping stuff going on with the Whittaker fans that have touched the line, right? Most of their stuff that they actually post, they post it in forums. They don't normally go online and show the real explicit stuff, but there is explicit stuff out there. Now, look, you know, as I said, I'm not here to judge anybody. What you do in your own private time is your business. But if you're going to be sick enough to actually post that video up on Twitter, and on Twitter, by the way, it's not even, look, at even as I was saying to Cheryl as well, look, you could understand that this kind of video was put up on a porn site, right? Okay? People mightn't agree with it, but porn site would be the appropriate place to put it. Twitter isn't the appropriate place to be putting this kind of rubbish. Now, it's absolutely disgusting, right? As I said, what you do in your private time is your own business, but you don't post this shit up online, right? And there's a couple of comments as well where a female, if she is a female, I don't know, but the account seems to be from a woman. And there's comments between the two of them there, which are quite, you know, again, it's not a conversation that you would have in public. You know, it's a private kind of conversation and they're talking. But this stuff needs to be stamped out. Right? And as I said, I'm not Jodie Whittaker's biggest fan here. Never have been. Right? I didn't think she was right for the role of the Doctor. I didn't like some of the things she said in her interviews. But I have never, ever, right? I have never, ever degraded that woman the way I've seen online tonight. Now, people were harp back, but no, you put up those photographs. Yeah, they were heavily censored and they were leaked and everybody was talking about it. So if people still have a problem with me reporting on something, remember, this was a woman that was the head of a family franchise, and then there was leaked photographs put out there. She should have been more careful anyway. Now, I still stand by that. You know, celebrities know nowadays that the phones can get hacked and the computers can get hacked. So they should be a bit more careful with what they're sending out there in the world, you know. But there's a sickness out there, man. Yeah, I'm not going to show the video, as I said. I'm not showing the video. Don't worry. I haven't even got the sound on the video because you can hear noises, and I'm not kidding, right? It's as I said, it's stuff that you don't put up publicly. It's absolutely disgusting. But this is a trend that I'm seeing lately in the Doctor Who fandom. We've heard some very controversial comments being made, you know, despicable things, and now we're getting this kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure if I was to go down further down this fella's Twitter account, there's probably more videos of the sort on it. I haven't checked and I'm not going to check. As I said, I seen Jodie Whittaker was trending, and I'm always curious when Jodie Whittaker is trending, right? And I went down and it was mostly all Comic-Con stuff, as I said, and then I came across this video. And, you know, it shouldn't be on Twitter. It's an inappropriate place. And I know there are people on Twitter. I've seen a few accounts out there that are heavily involved in the porn part of it, and they're saying that porn should be allowed up on Twitter. I disagree. Right? There's different platforms for that. It doesn't need to be on every single platform, right? Doesn't need to be on every single platform. There's different apps and different platforms out there for that kind of stuff. Twitter is not the place. Twitter is not the place. So I've reported this guy. I would, as I said, his Twitter account is in the link description of this video. If you're on Twitter, please report. It's absolutely disgusting. We should, you know what I mean. It's not right. It's not right. And you can see by some of his pictures there. I think he has a couple of pictures there. I'm not going to go in, but he seems to post up pictures of ladies. So as I said, it's probably an account that throws up stuff like that and videos like that. But we'll just remove that now. We don't need to keep. Lee says can confirm we have a serial jerker there. Okay, well then there you go. Absolute. Listen, you know it's like Elon has been obviously. A lot of people have been on his back about this, and apparently he fired a lot of people that actually deal with this, but he's saying it's a priority. Now, I'm not one to judge. He probably fired half of these people because they actually weren't doing anything, but he really needs to get on top of this. You know, he's got to win back the public confidence, and right now, you know, you've seen it there. You've got the big corporations and you've got the media working on it now, trying to get the public to turn against Elon. You know, things like this are not going to help his cause. So he needs to eradicate all of that stuff off Twitter. I'm sorry, but there's different platforms for people to be going on. There's OnlyFans as well and all of that other stuff. Okay? So that's where all of that stuff should be if you want to do that sort of thing. As I said, the kind of videos that he's throwing up, you know, that's something you do behind closed doors if that's what you want to do, right? Okay? You don't put it on a public platform. You might not want the link to his post on this video. Show notes, no, lol. Well, I mean, if the account gets reported, it'll be taken down. But I mean, I had to let people know. I suppose I could have just took a screenshot of the actual account, couldn't I? Anyway, yeah. But people are joking as well in the chat. I get why he's yeah. But it's not on, man. It's not on. There's been a few incidents in this fandom now. I don't even know if he's even a Doctor Who fan. He could be just some weirdo doing just random videos. As I said, I haven't looked because I don't want to look. I mean I mean, my eye is nearly bloody. I nearly got bleeding sick. Right, hold on. You probably have a point. I don't know. There's some weirdos out there, isn't there, folks? I mean, society nowadays, it's all sex and gender anyway. No wonder we have weirdos creeping out of the floorboards, man. They're all coming out. They're all popping out everywhere. Because society, the radical left, this is the result of all their policies, man. You got weirdos coming out of the woodwork, mad fetishes, walking around in public streets wearing bondage shit and all in front of kids, and people think that's okay. People think that's okay, like it's not. It's not normal. I'm sorry, but it's not normal behavior. You know, and it's being tolerated. You know, I just read something else there in the news. A bloke that identified as a woman. He was locked up in prison, and obviously, you know what happened. A female prison. You know what happened. You know what I mean? It's getting out of hand. When are we all gonna say enough is enough and stop this madness? You'll probably get criticized. I don't give a crap. At the end of the day, it's not normal. I'm sorry, it's not normal. Right? It's not normal for a grown adult to walk around like a bleeding whatever, furry, or walk around in fucking bondage clothes or whatever. Right? It's not normal. Right? If you want to do that crap, you do it behind closed doors. I'm sorry, but you do. We're trying to normalize all of the shit that we do in the bedroom in society. No, I'm sorry. Don't know what kind of society we want, but that's not the society I want to live in. Have our kids exposed to all of that, right? They do let kids grow up. Anyway, I've taken the link out of the link description because, Lee has a point, but his name is David. It's not probably even his real name. It's David Hack, the capital D, and Hack is spelt with a lowercase h. But I'm sorry, man. I might have people might think that my views are old fashioned nowadays. People probably do. Especially the younger generation, probably do think my views are old fashioned. I don't think they're old fashioned. I just think it's common fucking sense. It's common sense. You know what I mean? Let kids be kids, and don't be exposing them to all of this. Right? Let them grow up. Let them forge their own path. And then when they get old enough and, they fall in love and all of that crap or whatever, or they start, maturing and as we all do, we go out and we explore and we learn. You let them do it themselves. Hey everyone, I'm not even going to ask, says John Jackrabbit. Yeah, well, let's just say it's been a weird couple of days in this fandom with behavior and carry on to some people. Some people are going too far and crossing the line, and they don't seem to have a problem with it anymore. Nah. Well, he's hacking something, says Daniel. Jesus Christ, these are all on the jokes tonight, Agnes. These are all funny little people, Agnes. Tell you, madness, man, madness. I just don't know. It's just sick, man. Sick. Do you know what? I've now again another word that was trending yesterday was ups, right? Ups, right? So that's a harmless word, you would think, ups. But yeah, you scroll down with ups, and then you get this. Well, let's just say Twitter has become like it's become like one of those other become one of those other sites that was talking about porn sites. That's what it's become, right? Little words like that, right? You can't even. Again, you do be when you're on Twitter and you see some things trending, right? Obviously, you see a lot of things trending that and then you'll see these things like ups trending or something else, another word trending, and then you'll go in and you'll scroll down, and then it's just pure filth. It's just pure filth. That's what it should be called. That's what should be called. And then you have people actually giving out because Elon wants to remove that stuff, or so he says, right? And then there's people advocating that Twitter should have its own little section for all that, right? And its own little communities and all of that. No, 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 no. That's why they have all those other platforms. That's what they're there for, right? Twitter's for everybody to interact and talk to each other, not to be, you know. If people want to see that, then they'll sign up to OnlyFans or something, or they'll watch some of these things. Twitter is not for that. Anyway, the EU has, is it the EU or I think it's the UK? I think it might be just the UK. They've passed some bill anyway now. Social media companies now will be fined if they don't make sure there's no kids on the platform. So they're dropping the hammer anyway. And I know Europe is doing something kind of similar to make sure that there's no kid. Listen, I've always had this argument and debate with people anyway for these last few years, right? Some people think that kids should be allowed on social media platforms. I disagree. I don't think they should be on social media platforms whatsoever, right? And then some people say, well, they should, and their parents should be able to monitor. But the problem is, right? The problem is this: parents do not monitor their kids. That's the reality of the situation. Parents today don't want to encroach on their children's safe space, right? So they're not going to do what they need to do to make sure that their kid is protected, right? So if parents are not going to do it, well, then it's up to social media to do it. I do not think that kids should be on Twitter. They shouldn't be on Snapchat. They shouldn't be on TikTok, right? They shouldn't. They shouldn't be on Facebook. They shouldn't be on any of this, right? They're not for kids, right? Facebook was set up, right? Was Facebook originally set up for kids? No. It was set up so Mark Zuckerberg and his friends could get themselves ladies, right? That's what it was set up for. Right? And then you get all these other social media apps that come. They shouldn't be on them. I'm sorry, I don't agree. Kids, again, Jack as well is right. Social media impacts kids' development, right? They get all messed up, they do. They chase the fame. All of these kids that do TikTok videos and do their YouTube things, they're all hoping to get fame. They're all hoping to get that easy life. Right? Everything is geared towards, even parents when they have their kids on it, to make sure their kids look cute and all of this. It's all a popularity contest. Who can go viral? They don't care what damage it does to young people. I'm telling you, man, I do not agree with it. Now, and people might think I'm being too harsh and all of this. I don't think I am. This youth, the reason why they are the way they are is because social media is driving it, and they've got adults around them as well that are social media driven, and they're all vain. They all want to go viral. They all think of themselves. It's a very selfish society that we live in today. Parents do not parent their kids nowadays. They want to be their kids' best friends, right? So how do you expect parents to step up to the mark and make sure that their kids are being protected on social media? They will not do that because, as I said, they're not interested in that. They're too self-absorbed in their own bleeding little world on social media. That's what it was. Zuckerberg and his mates wanted to get laid, basically. That's what Facebook was set up for, right? You were rating girls and all of this crap. Nobody calls him out, do they? He literally set up an app so he could get laid, like. Now, I'm not saying all the other apps that followed suit started off like that, because obviously they didn't, right? But let's not kid ourselves. Kids shouldn't be on any of these social media apps. I'm sorry. Simple as that. They're not mature enough. And we've seen it already. You know, if you watch YouTube, you know, I watched this fella, I can't think of his name. I think he's an Irish guy. But he has this whole series about YouTubers that were YouTubers, all different social media stars that were stars, but then there's a dark side to how they became famous and all. And kids are being exploited online. There's a mother who had her kids on. They were singing, they were doing all cute stuff, and it turned out then that social services were called for that woman because kids were not because people were noticing that some of the kids were bruises were appearing in some videos, and then when the police went to investigate, she literally had all the kids chained up. A mother, she chained her own kids up because she wanted to get famous and go viral. And our channel was very popular. She had merch, she had everything going, and she was locking those kids, chaining those kids up and locking them up in a cage, treating them like dogs. And we've seen it over the years, the damage social media has on some young people. And all these politicians are talking, oh, we need more regulation, we need all this. No, you don't. You need to just ban kids off fucking social media, end the fucking story. Right? You want to protect them, keep them off it. And it's the same with kids playing online as well. You know, parents need to step up to the mark as well. If your kids are playing Fortnite, I used to play Fortnite live on my channel, right? And some people would be watching when I was going live. And then we get kids coming into the lobby. I'd leave straight away. Can't be dealing with fucking kids. And they shouldn't be online anyway if there's adults playing as well. Or there should be separate servers for kids and servers for adults. But they don't do that. But parents, again, it goes back to parents not doing their job, though. Parents have a handy now. Our parents brought us up. You know, they criticise our parents, right? They criticise our parents and our grandparents, they do, right? But literally, we were brought up properly, right? We were protected, right? We were, what did our parents always told us? Never talk to a stranger. Always be with a group of friends. Never be on your own. Right? Or if our parents seen any adults coming to her, get that feck away from my kid, blah, blah, blah. They were there. They watched us like hawks all the time. Even if we were out playing all day, they'd maybe come out, they would make sure we were all right. And they're and the youth today, not all of them, but the youth today attack their mothers and their fathers and their mothers and fathers. We were brought up the right way. We feared our parents, right? There's nothing wrong with fearing your parents, right? I hate all of this crap about protect kids, you can't be right? But we respected our parents. And we respected other people because they made sure that we respected other people. Because if we didn't respect other people, we got a clout in the head. Respect your elders. I'm not saying that's the way we should do it nowadays. Society moves on and parenting techniques change, obviously, with society. But by God, do parents have it easy today? Right? They don't even realise how easy they have it. Right? And all they're asked to do is bring up their kids, right? And bring them up the best they can. Look, sometimes, and it does happen, you'll have a bad apple in the family no matter what happens, right? You'll raise all your kids the same way and they'll all be brought up the right way. Just some people are bad apples and it doesn't turn out, right? But there's a lot of bad apples out there now because parents are not doing their job. And on one hand, I will defend parents on one aspect and say parents are actually scared shitless nowadays because, you know, kids now can actually, kids can actually sue their parents now. They can actually have their parents locked up. I mean, you can't even scream at a kid now, right? Like scream. You remember our parents screaming after us for her to get in here now and get your dinner? Right, you did that nowadays, right? Your kid be on straight onto child service. Oh, me mom, dad gave out to me because I wouldn't come in for me dinner. And they get yeah. Right, we're back. I did that. That was my fault that time. Just in case anybody was wondering if it was YouTube. It wasn't. That was me. I just dropped a shitload of stuff on the floor. That's what happened there. Anyway, as I was saying, it's just totally different now. I mean, we wouldn't have all the problems if we had in the world if some of these adults weren't as reckless as they are. We've seen the impact adults have with kids now. We see all these new movements now with kids and, telling us that, we want to get our act together on climate change and stuff and being the biggest hypocrites of all. Like the generation basically that has everything that pollutes more than anybody else, but yet we're the problem. We're the problem. Listen, we were recycling and we had glass bottles and we had all of this other shit. Your generation and the generation before to start using plastic and all of this crap and use our 15 phones a year. Get away, right? I still have the same phone, right? The same phone about 5 fucking years now, right? These kids nowadays, right? They get the newest model, the newest brand every year, and they might buy two phones. And they talk to us about the climate, right? When I was growing up when I was growing up and I was going to school, we were lucky to have computers, right? I remember when I was coming to the end of my school, we got computers. When I was coming to the end of being in school, computers then became a thing in school. Now they have them everywhere. Again, you talk about us, yet your generation are the ones that have probably done the most damage to the environment, not to the climate, because the climate is going to change anyway. But the environment. Now we care about the environment. We want the oceans cleaned up. We want the canals, the rivers. We want people to, stop littering and all of that. Yes, we do want to recycle and stuff because I think recycling is good. Yes, the less trees we cut down, the better. So yeah, I'm all for recycling. But it's your generation, not all, that have done the most damage to the environment. Not us. Not us. I'm very conscious about when I throw out me rubbish and if we're recycling. We go over to the bottle bank when we have glass bottles. Cheryl always goes over, especially if she has her bottles of beer. We'll go over and we'll do the glass bank and the recycle. Because yes, the less trees that we cut down, and stuff like that, that's all good. Don't be pointing the finger at us. We've done far more than your generation when it comes to protecting this environment and protecting this planet. And I can tell you that now. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Right, I'm going to turn in. I'll have a busy day tomorrow. Oh, fill us in. What are you up to? What are you up to? What are you up to? You know me, I'm a nosy person. The my generation. Hope we don't get fooled again. LOL. Look, at the end of the day, every generation does get fooled. We were fooled by some stuff growing up as well. Let's not kid ourselves about it. But we wised on pretty quick enough, though. That's the thing. No, when I was a kid, I never saw a piece of trash on my street in my little town. Now kids throw everything away and they complain we're to blame. Maybe our generation have been too soft on them. We have. You're absolutely spot on, mate. We have. We have. And that's the thing. We let them run riot, and this is the result. Look at there are people of this generation and youth of this generation that have their heads on their shoulders, right? And they know, congratulations, mate. Congratulations. Is your mommy? Or I won't ask, actually. That's none of my business. But listen, enjoy it anyway. It's always nice to have a guest over, I have to say. It breaks up the day. So, yeah, man. Enjoy whatever you're doing, man. Have a good one. We were never slackers. We did listen, Generation X does get a lot of shit. We weren't the slackers, man. We did that, as I said, we did a lot more for the environment, right? And we made changes. Remember, it was our generation, right? Do you remember the ozone layer? Do you remember the hole in the ozone layer? Right? What actions did we take as Gen X? We got rid of the CFCs out of spray cans. Do you remember? Right? And that's where we started all this recycle business and all. Right? There wouldn't be recycling. Right? And we'd still be using CFCs if it wasn't for our generation. Right? I remember, listen, we all grew up. I remember this, man. Right? I remember everything that our generation did. Right? The one thing that our generation did get wrong, and I will say this, was we're getting rid of glass bottles. Remember, you used to get your milk in glass bottles and they replaced it with plastic. Now they're going back to cartons again. But again, cutting down trees, I don't see the thing. I'd rather we went back to glass, personally, because glass, you can recycle glass as many times as you fucking want. But the glass bottles of milk, man, right? That was the thing that we got rid of. Remember, we were also the generation that brought in the what you call it, the plastic bag levy. Right? We brought in the money. Well, if you want a plastic bag, you have to buy a plastic bag. Because they wanted to stop, because remember, as Chris said in the chat there, people were throwing their rubbish all over the place, or dumping plastic bags. So we put a stop to that. And as soon as they put the levy on plastic bags, there wasn't plastic bags all over the street. It made a difference. It actually did. Little things like that. The things that these kids are talking about now are huge, right? And they're not thinking of the consequence, right? You get rid of the oil. Fair enough, get rid of the oil. You're going to lose a lot of old age pensioners. A lot of old age pensioners are going to die, because they're not going to be able to heat their homes, because you don't want them to use coal either, right? Then you won't be happy with the oil. Then you will go after the gas and say, well, you can't use gas either, right? So you're trying to force all these wind farms and this solar energy stuff, right? Which does more damage to the environment. They don't tell you, right? They always talk about the climate, right? But they never tell you the environmental damage that these things actually do to the environment, right? And here's the thing. They're putting all of these electric electric I'm going to say gas stations, but they're putting all these electric stations all over the place, right? And all over the world now, right? But what powers them? A diesel fucking generator to keep them fully charged. To keep them fully charged, to use diesel generators. So where does diesel come from, yous numpties? All of these things, right? I've been watching loads of official documentaries, lithium batteries, right? The lithium mines, how they mine for that, how they dispose of lithium batteries, right? They can't recycle lithium batteries, they have to bury them. Do you know the wind farms that everybody brags on about? Well, those propellers break, yeah? They can't be recycled. They bury them underground. Again, causing damage to our environment, right? But nobody's talking about the environmental damage that are done. Oh, let's just make sure that climate change doesn't happen. It's going to happen, you morons, right? The climate changed in the past, right? It changed when we weren't here, when dinosaurs were here, right? And it changed before then, and it'll change again. There just happens to be more humans now here, and we're witnessing a climate shift. There's nothing we can do. It's got to do with the sun. It's got to do with the moon. It's got to do with that, right? It's got to do with solar output, right? The scientists that you are all listening to now, they're all lying in their pockets and they're conveniently ignoring the facts, right? And they're making up stuff, right? You even have the person that's talking about saying, "Oh, well, we own the science on climate change." No, you don't own the science on climate change. Nobody owns the science on climate change. And this is the kind of rhetoric we're getting from these people, right? Even Google themselves have admitted that if people type in climate change, they will only get the approved fucking people that they believe are telling the truth about climate, right? The whole point of Google is so you can find stuff yourself, and and they say you have to scroll all the way down before you get the information that you actually want. So they put it right down at the bottom. Right? So they're admitting that they're suppressing the other side of the argument. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Because if they're right, about the climate changing and we're responsible, well, then they'd be so confident they wouldn't be trying to bury the other side's argument. Wake up, smell the coffee, folks. The climate is going to change. We are not responsible. There's nothing we can do about it. It was always going to change. Right? There just happens to be 7 billion of us now on the planet. Okay? It's going to happen. And it's not going to be all doom and gloom like the other side says, sea levels are going to rise and all that bollocks. It's not going to be like the day after tomorrow, by the way. Not that sort of scenario. It won't be that severe. But some countries will actually experience more severe winters and hotter summers. But it happened before. It happened before, and it'll happen again. And the only reason why all of these, and by the way, open your fucking eyes. Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Al Gore, right? He's the one that kind of started all this anyway. Al Gore, right? You got Leonardo DiCaprio. You have ex-President Obama, right? Who else talks on climate change? I think George Clooney as well as one of them, right? All of those people that I've mentioned, right? Talk about climate change, talk about how the sea levels are going to rise and stuff and all of this, yeah? And every single one of them have bought a beachfront property worth millions. Now, why would you buy a beachfront property worth millions, right? If the sea levels are going to rise and you're going to end up losing it? Because it's a crock of shit. They're in it for the money. Because there's a lot of money to be made. And you notice now they've upped the old rhetoric now and they're trying to scaremonger us into submission now. That's what they're doing. It's absolutely ridiculous that people are buying into all of this, right? Scaremongering people. And for what? For money. And then what will happen then when it doesn't happen, right? Or climate change happens the way we think it's going to happen and none of the other stuff happens. How are they going to warm their way out of that one? Right? Remember, these gobshites have been talking about the climate changing since the fucking 70s. Actually, it goes back further than that. Right? And they made grandiose claims that in in the year 2000, that Holland, because they're below sea level, they would be underwater. Are they underwater? No, they're not underwater. They're not. The sea levels haven't even changed that much over the last few hundred years. Because you know what happens? Water evaporates, you see. Water evaporates, you see. But you see, they don't take that into account. They're all con artists. They're all con artists. And you know what? People are going to buy it because they always do in the end. People will buy it and everybody will change, and all these wind farms will have all this solar energy, and then it'll be, watch, it'll be screwed. Right? People are going to be minted and sitting back and laughing at everybody while they're rolling in the money. The one thing that actually kills me about this whole situation is the scientists themselves. The fact that the scientists have actually sold out for money when they're supposed to be learned people and they're supposed to be there to figure things out and to tell us the truth. But they see the money train or the gravy train, and they've jumped on board the gravy train, unfortunately, and they're fear-mongering people. And it's actually sad because I have these points of view. People have actually fallen out with me over it. Look, at the end of the day, I have those beliefs, but I still do recycle. I still do be bit, but I'm not going to buy into the scare and the fear mongering. No way. I refuse to. Right? The science itself is a contradiction. Exactly. We don't have enough lithium. I know, and we're going to run into problems, and then they're going to find another solution, which is going to cost. And then when that solution is not viable, they'll try find another solution, and then again, and this will be a continuous thing throughout our lifetime, right? And in the meantime, there'll be the main people behind it making a lot of money. And don't be fooled about Greta Thunberg and our family. They're probably rolling in the money right now as well, right? Because that's what it does. It makes people very, very rich, right? And that's all it's about. It's about money. They really cared about this planet, they'd be more worried about protecting the killer whales, cleaning up the oceans, as I said, doing all of that stuff that we can actually do that will make a difference to the planet. But instead, they want to waste their time and their energy on a thing that they're just that the science doesn't even match up. They've even had experts on, right, that have come on to explain what climate change and what's actually going to happen, and they've been dismissed, right? They've been ridiculed and they've been dragged through the mud, right? And here's another thing as well that you might not know, right? But there's a documentary about this. But a plane full of climate change experts, right? Well, not plane, but let's just say that a lot of climate change experts, ones that have been coming out and saying that this is all a con, have all ended up turning up dead, right? Yeah, turning up dead. But we won't question that. Just freak little accidents. That's all it is. Just freak little accidents. That's as it always is some freak little accident. It's like that fella that was found in a suitcase and apparently he committed suicide. But yeah, the suitcase was locked from the outside, but he killed himself and was able to get himself into the suitcase and then lock the suitcase up. Like, I mean, he was found in a hotel room. And apparently the official investigation says he committed suicide. Unbelievable. I have to go now. Good night, all. Thanks for the live now. No problem. I know it wasn't, you know, I know it wasn't a normal Doctor Who stream and stuff like that, but had to report on that, what I seen. Because people criticize me that, you know, that especially the other side, they say that I never call out shit, which I do all the time. I do, but this needed to be called out. I mean, the behavior over the last couple of days from some people in this fandom has been absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. And we've seen the Jodie Whittaker fans or the J-bots, whatever you want to call them, their behavior, sending death threats and everything left, right, and center, saying horrible things about RTD and sending death threats to David Tennant. Like we've seen, this fandom is getting out of control. Needs to stop anyway, but what can you do, man? This society, they say that we used to say back in the old days, we used to hear our parents say it and their grandparents say it, and they says that I remember sitting there when a lot of adults were sitting there and the kids be all sitting there eating their munchies and the adults would be all sitting down, during the summer, and they'd be talking about society, and a lot of them were saying the society will collapse someday. And I think I actually have to say, I think society already has collapsed. I wouldn't say we're actually on the verge of a collapse. So I actually think society has collapsed. It's sad. It's actually sad. People just can't get on with their lives and just get on with it. Everybody's offended by something, or someone that always has to be, oh, me. Spotlight on me. Why am I being discriminated? Yeah. Just everybody needs to just cop on. It's a madhouse. Planet of the Apes, 1968, says Peter Harrington. Well, society, I tell you. Yeah. Yeah, they called it a lot of different stuff when we were growing up as well. It was global warming. I remember that one. But there was another one before global warming. And there was another one before that one. I do know that. But yeah, they've changed it every time. Well, this person appears to be a sick individual, and this is what happens when you let when lunatics are allowed to rule the asylum. Exactly. I said it earlier on. It's absolutely ridiculous, the things that we're trying to make socially acceptable, and the stuff that they're exposing their kids to. You've seen that company, right? Obviously, Kim Kardashian has been in the news lately because one of the companies that she endorses had photographs of kids with teddy bears wearing fucking what was it, bondage gear, and they thought that was acceptable. So, there was a bit of a backlash about it. And she basically didn't say anything for ages, and people were criticizing. And then when the heat got too much, then she comes out with this pathetic statement where she says, "Oh, I wanted to see what would happen for her, and then I rang them up like to see why they did, and now I'm gonna maybe I have to reevaluate my relationship with them." But I says, like, if they never do it again, basically, I'm gonna keep endorsing them. Well, she didn't put it that way, but basically that's what she was saying. So the scumbag is supporting a company that basically exploited kids. And as I says anyway, and I keep saying about that family, I'm not actually surprised that Kim has reacted the way she's reacted. That family is only concerned in being famous and making money. And that's what you get when trailer trash becomes a multi-millionaire. You get Kim Kardashian and her family. I don't know why they've become famous. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't care that our dad was a famous lawyer and all of that. That doesn't mean that the rest of them become famous and all. I just don't get how that happened. But this is the society that we live in, right? It's a celebrity and it's it's a it's a celebrity and a commercial world that we live in. And now we've got all of this other stuff. So, these are the type of celebrities, that are endorsing all of that shit. Apparently, there's other celebrities out there as well. But again, they won't drop these companies. They won't drop these companies. Oh, they made a mistake. But then people were going through their past photographs, and actually, apparently, I have to word this very carefully, but apparently one of the models or something that was or one of the photographers that was taking photographs was going out with someone who was accused of having images of children in a, you know what I'm talking about, right? So these are the type of people that are apparently part of this company, or have been, very dodgy. And listen, this has been a thing going on in Hollywood for decades, and it's been talked about, all of these child rings and all of this stuff going on in Hollywood, and all of that, the underground stuff. Look, I believe all of that. I believe all of that. People call it a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. They're actually being more open about it now, because this is the way society has gone. So now a company has been exposed for exactly doing that thing. And now all the celebrities are like, oh, well, I might have to reevaluate my relationship with them. But like, once they explained what happened, I feel kind of okay with that. And that woman has kids. So what kind of message is she sending out to people? That's not acceptable on any level. You drop that company, you criticize them, and then you make sure that the public turn on that company. That's your job. She's got so much influence that she said one bad word about that company would probably close down. She'd probably end that company. Right? But why would she end a revenue stream? And remember, the Kim Kardashian, right, and her family, it doesn't kind of matter what publicity they get, whether it's good or bad, right? All publicity to them keep them in the limelight. They don't care, right? They've even been criticized about some of the stuff they've been flogging and trying to sell to their young fans, and it's turned out not to be what it's been advertised as, right? But have they been held to account for it? Absolutely not. Right? And why? Because the Hollywood elites, right? And you don't touch the Hollywood elites. They're untouchable, apparently. Yeah, I can't actually say it on stream, Nicholas, but that's exactly what I was talking about. But I can't actually say it. The stream is already being limited anyway, already. So I have to be very careful what I say, especially when you're talking about stuff like that. You have to be kind of careful how I word it live. But yeah, of course, that's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, but classic 80s fanboy, right? He says, unfortunately, we just have to weather the storm that we are facing. This cannot sustain itself forever. That is a fair point, but then I'll flip it and I'll say this. How much damage will be done to our children and future generations if we allow this to continue? And as you said, it cannot sustain itself forever, but it doesn't seem to be slowing down. So, how far are we willing to let it go as a society before we say, hey, enough is enough? I think people are already starting to speak up and say enough is enough anyway, but a lot more of that needs to happen. So, I mean, we have a problem on social media. We have a problem in fandom. We have a problem in society. There's definitely a problem in Hollywood. Always has been, you know. But we got movements like Me Too who focus on stuff got to do with women, which is fair enough. But what about all the other stuff that goes on in Hollywood? Should be all coming together to expose all of this. Uh, I don't know if anybody watches Louis Theroux, but he's been interviewing celebrities, and he interviewed that comedian Catherine Ryan. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Catherine Ryan as a comedian. I actually find her humor a bit dull, to be honest with you. But she made some comments about she's saying that there's a big main Hollywood star that everybody knows is a predator, right? But nobody is saying that. Nobody is saying that. Now, even in that interview, she didn't say that neither. But here's the thing. Why are all of these people staying silent? Why aren't they saying anything? Right? Why aren't they saying anything? And there's this screenshot that's been going around, and apparently it was from BBC News's website. And now it's been debunked by by some fact finders place or something. They've said that it's fake. But if true, it accused Tom Hanks of 135 counts of something. Now, BBC website and BBC have said that they never posted that article online. But someone did make the point. Remember, this is the same company that covered up the Jimmy Savile stuff for decades. So read into it what you will. But apparently there's a big Hollywood star, and then that screenshot flies around. But apparently it's debunked. Right? And then apparently there's a photograph which shows that he might have an ankle bracelet on his ankle, but it's inconclusive. If I'm honest with you, I've seen the photograph; it is inconclusive. And then there's a photograph apparently with his hands up in the air, which I have seen. Well, it's not apparently; I have seen him with his hands up in the air, but apparently he's been arrested there. But I think that's when he flew into Australia, and they're doing the search because obviously he's gone into another country. So again, that cannot be proved either. But remember, this man has moved to Greece with his wife, and Greece is a country that you cannot be extradited from. So it's quite interesting. If there is nothing in it, though, the movements that he's made don't make it look like, it looks a bit dodgy. But that's what she said. Now, that's on BBC, by the way. So if you have BBC iPlayer in the UK, Louis Theroux's interview with Catherine Ryan, listen to it. It's there. We've been watching them. We watched the Stormzy one. We've got to watch Judi Dench now. I haven't watched the Catherine Ryan one. I've only seen clips. And she was trending on Twitter. And they played the clip. So you wanna check it out. You want to check it out because it's very interesting. But again, if people in Hollywood know, and she's saying that they know, she obviously must know herself. Why isn't anybody saying anything? And I don't buy this crap anymore, that being powerful, right? Because all it takes nowadays, you've seen it, right? We've seen it with Amber Heard. She went and accused Johnny Depp of shitloads of stuff in a newspaper article, right? And defamed him, right? But she nearly ended his career, right? So if these people actually do know that there is really someone out there that's doing this, well, then all they have to do is drop their name and actually say, right, this is what happened, and this is what we know. But nobody is saying that, right? And people have linked to the Ricky Gervais. Do you remember when he did was it the Golden Globes? Was it the Golden Globe? What was it? The Golden Globes or whatever it was. And Tom Hanks was there with his wife. And Ricky Gervais made the comments about Epstein, and Tom Hanks had made a big face. Well, people have put two and two together there as well. Yeah. So they think that there's actually something in on it. I actually might have that screenshot still, just to show you is actually what I'm talking about. Just give us a second there. I still should have it. To be honest, I'm a huge Tom Hanks fan. I do have it, and I have the fact checker thing as well. So I'll also show you that as well. To be fair, but I'll show you what I'm actually talking about, just in case someone thinks I'm making this up. This was actually gone because I've seen Tom Hanks's name trending, and this is the thing. I've seen Tom Baker's name trending as well, and every time I see his name trending, I panic. But it does be the same with Tom Hanks because, for me, he's a great. I'd hate this to be true, to be quite honest with you, because I'd be absolutely gutted. We all grew up with Tom Hanks, and I would hate to believe that he's capable of acting like that. But there's a lot of people out there that have turned out to be bleeding absolutely vile creatures that we all grew up with, and we didn't think they were capable of acting like that, and it turned out that they actually did. So, you don't know nowadays. That's the thing. You don't know nowadays. It's actually quite sad that was allowed to go on. It's absolutely sick. But anyway, just to show you now, it's you'll see what I'm talking about. Just bear with me. My computer is a bit slow tonight. And I've got other stuff to show as well before we leave. Right, so here's this. Right, now, as I said, BBC have made it clear that they haven't actually put this story up. Apparently, it's very cleverly put together. So just in case you can't see it fully. So this says here, I'll read it out. It says live. Tom Hanks arrested on 135 counts of child PORN possession. But then we get this, and fact check said the BBC did not publish false story on Tom Hanks' arrest. A screenshot purporting to show a British Broadcasting Corporation website with the headline reading, as I read, was digitally manipulated. The BBC confirmed it did not publish the story, and the pictures of the actor on holiday in Greece this month show he is not in custody. But even the way they write that is a bit... So just to show you again, this is apparently being manipulated. BBC website there, and that's the headline, and then there's a picture there, and then, as I said, it was debunked. But a lot of people are saying, even though it has been debunked, they don't actually believe. This has resurfaced, by the way. So apparently this was gone around before. So I don't know what's going on, but for some weird reason, when that Catherine Ryan interview went out, that screenshot resurfaced and people start trending it again. And then obviously, then it was debunked ages ago, but people are resharing it again. Very interesting though. As I said, I would be gutted, because Tom Hanks to me is a acting icon. I do like him. Some people think he's crap, which is fair enough. We all have different tastes. But there's something seriously going on, and if people thought that the Me Too movement had exposed Hollywood, they haven't even scratched the surface. That's the sad reality of the situation. They have not even scratched the surface, folks. Right? You have people out there and child actors out there that have come out and spoke about their experiences and what happened to them. And again, there's some that say they won't even say they have names and they could drop names, but they never do. I don't know, because I think it's different now. You know, maybe 10 years ago, people are powerful and all that, and you wouldn't dare. But today's society is different. Like, I mean, people are going out and accusing people left, right, and center, I suppose, and maybe that's why some of these people are afraid to come forward, because they probably think they won't be believed. I mean, certainly Amber Heard hasn't helped the situation, you know, because if there is true victims out there, you know, they're not going to come forward now, thanks to Amber. You know, she goes and falsely accuses someone, defames someone, and still to this day she's being defended by people. It's absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. I mean, the woman has previous, right? And it's actually out there. People know that she has previous, but they've ignored all that. Apparently, she's the victim this time. Yes, she has several victims that she's left in her wake. Several. And yet, Johnny Depp is the most evil man on the planet. You even watch interviews. Now that we know everything that we know, I've watched all those red carpet interviews that the two of them appeared with each other in, right? And you can tell who the victim is and who the abuser is. Johnny Depp in all of those interviews looks very uncomfortable, right? He's even the way she looks at him, body language, the whole lot. It's all there now that we know everything that we know, right? Unfortunately, that woman has issues, right? She can't accept it, and unfortunately, she lashes out, and it comes out in violence, right? She needs help, but nobody should be defending her, right? You cannot defend an abuser. But you've got to help that person realize that they need help. Because one day, right, Johnny Depp and all these other people have been lucky. We've all heard the stories, especially in Hollywood, what happens, right? It could end tragically. One day she could lose proper control, right? And that's her life round, and then the person that's involved in it, their lives round. And you can stop all of that from happening by stop supporting an abuser. The only reason why she keeps going on, keeps trying to fight, is because she still has people supporting her. She has journalists supporting her. They're all ignoring the facts in the case. Then they're saying that certain files should be unsealed and all of this other rubbish, and because it makes Johnny look like whatever, or whatever she has in her head. Like, you lost. Accept it. If you accepted it, got help. It's Hollywood. Nowadays, your career is not over. Maybe back in the day, your career would have been finished, but not nowadays. I mean, look at Ezra Miller. You can go around choking women and you can still be a movie star. Which is wrong, by the way. He should be locked up. He's a piece of shit. But I think he has been charged. So, like, he'll probably get what's coming to him anyway, and locked up for a few years, and rightly so. Right? But there's a problem in Hollywood. And there always has been. Well, Britney Spears. You talking about Britney Spears? I mean, that poor girl. Look, I'm not afraid to admit that I'm a Britney Spears fan, right? Um, I remember when I think she's 2 years younger than me only, right? So I grew up with Britney, and I've always liked her music, right? It's not just liking Britney. I'll admit Britney is a stunning looking woman, and she is attractive, and I'm not going to lie about that. But I do genuinely love her music, right? I think her music is jamming. Personally speaking, I do. I love her music, right? But the shit I heard about what she went through, and we heard what she went through, unbelievable. That a woman, at the age that she was, right? Okay, fair enough. When she was younger, she lost the plot a little bit, right? But why did she lose the plot? She lost the plot because the media wouldn't leave her alone. She was hounded. How do you expect a woman of her age, a young woman of that age, to handle all of that? Of course, she's gonna crack. Now, when she did crack, her dad obviously wanted to protect her assets and all of that, and that's fair enough, right? You can understand it then, but for it to go as far as long as it did, and for the amount of stuff that he could, no, absolutely wrong. She had every right to live her life the way she wanted. Once she got herself sorted out, she had every right to choose her own path in life, and not to be controlled by anybody. Absolutely disgusting. I have a soft spot for her, still do. I mean, she's on Instagram, and she's posting up all of these photographs. And you can tell the reason why she's posting up the certain photographs that she posts up is because, she has been under control for so long, and that's probably her release right now. But it's sad. She's still going through some stuff. It's clear. But I hope she does. Apparently, she's going to be coming back doing more music again, which I think will be good for her anyway. She'll be able to do the music that she really wants to do, and don't be surprised if she goes down a different route actually with her music now. Now that she'll have control over what she wants to do, but it's pretty sad. Pretty sad. People were sure Cliff Richard was mixed up in shady stuff, but he wasn't. Yeah, the Cliff Richard one is actually very interesting, actually, um, because there's always been stuff around Cliff Richard, but as you said yourself, nothing has ever stuck. They've invaded his privacy as well. BBC invaded his privacy. Sure, he brought BBC, didn't he, to court because he found out while they were interviewing him or something that he's gaff in Portugal or something, or he's gaff in England, wherever which gaff it was being raided. But nothing's been ever found on Cliff. Yeah, and at the end of the day, he doesn't look. I suppose though, look, the difference is that with Jimmy Savile, we always knew there was something weird about that fella, right? But living as a bachelor, right, as Cliff has done, doesn't necessarily. I think it is when it's a bachelor, people always have suspicions on bachelors, don't they? A little bit. Um, but in this case, as I said, as you said yourself, nothing's ever been found. He's been investigated actually a few times now, hasn't he? It's actually ridiculous. Leave the man alone. He's obviously innocent. You know. I love Cliff's Christmas music. I have to say, I'm not a Cliff Richard fan, but I do love his Christmas songs. Cliff and Christmas were always a thing in the UK, especially, but in Ireland as well. It was. We actually like Christmas, the Christmas time, mistletoe and wine. Love it. She had no real childhood like a few others. Exactly. Brittany was a Disney Club child. Yeah, the Mickey Mouse Club. With Justin Timberlake and Christina Aguilera was there as well. I know, yeah. I know where she came from. I'm a fan. I'm a fan, as I told you. Fan of Britney. I know she was in the Mickey Mouse Club. Um, but yeah, you're right. I mean, they started off on Disney, and they didn't have a childhood. You know. Yeah, my mum also likes some of his Christmas songs. Yeah, I like his Christmas songs, man. I don't think it's Christmas without a Cliff Richard song, and especially Band Aid as well. Do they know it's Christmas? I mean, they're the two songs for me. You have to have a bit of Cliff in your Christmas playlist. Um, he did a song that caused a bit of controversy, which was Savior's Day, which gets a lot of stick. But I actually loved that song, and at that time I was still kind of pretty religious, so a lot of Catholics were giving out about that song. But I actually liked it. I actually liked Savior's Day, so he's done a few. He's done a few. Not bad. Not bad. But yeah, man, it's mad that Tom Hanks stuff. You just don't know anymore, do you, man? I mean, the amount of people that have been exposed that we grew up with as kids, and obviously we would never have suspected that and grown up as kids, but it's a shock when you find out, man. Nah, man, no, I'm not gonna lie. Look, I get a bit of stick. Seriously, I used to get stick off me mates years ago. Because I listened to Britney Spears and I bought her albums and stuff like that. But I don't care. I like their music. Listen, I listen to rock. I listen to dance. I listen to trance. I listen to house. I listen to anything. Romantic music, fucking 50s, 60s. Listen, my dad used to get Reader's Digest and they were doing a whole 1920s and 1930s music, and I got that whole, like, it was something like 600 songs. and I listened to that as well. My dad got me those albums because I really wanted them, and then we got the 50s and the 60s and stuff like that. I listen to anything eclectic, I think they call it. I listen to any sort of music. I'll give any sort of music a go. The music that I won't touch or I can't get into, and I've never been able to get into, is jazz. Now I've listened to opera, I've listened to classical, as they call it, classical. I've listened to rock, country, pop, you name it, anything, right? Brit pop, fucking boy band stuff, girl band stuff, you know. But I've never been able to get into jazz. I listened to a Miles Davis album one night. A friend of mine says, "Yeah, you'll appreciate good music. Here's a Miles Davis album for you to listen to." And I put the thing on, and I listened to the whole lot now, right? I did listen to the whole lot because I never judge. I never judge an album off one kind of tune. You have to listen to the whole thing. You know, and by the end of it, not only did I have a headache and my ears were ringing, I just found it boring. Boring. I felt like I had to be really drunk or under the influence to really enjoy it or something. I just couldn't get into it, and I still can't get into jazz. But I listen to everything else. I'll give it a go anyway. You know, I mean, some of my music playlists, there's some songs there that people wouldn't even believe. Like, I just have a soft spot for certain songs as well, and stuff like that. But yeah, and I know some people find jazz great, and they understand it, and they can explain what the note what they're playing, and the rhythms, and they'd explain how it makes them feel and all of that. I just can't get any of that with jazz. I just cannot connect with it, to be quite honest with you. And obviously in my household we grew up with musicals, so I'm a big fan of musicals. I've probably said this to you all before. I love movies like The Sound of Music. Um, we grew up with the musical version of Oliver Twist. Obviously the Wizard of Oz. Um, what else was there? Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Mary Poppins. Grew up with all of that. Annie. Annie was one of my favorites though growing up. It's still up there as one of my favorite movies, I have to say. The songs in that movie are just brilliant. The acting in it is just brilliant as well. But I love it. Albert Finney in that movie he plays Daddy Warbucks, doesn't he? And I think, yeah, it is Albert Finney, isn't it? Pretty sure it's Albert Finney. Um, that's brilliant. The jazz singer actually was the Neil Diamond movie. I actually love that movie as well. Fiddler on the Roof was another movie that I grew up watching as well. We grew up with musicals in my household, and then obviously you had the romantic ones, Dirty Dancing. You had the Bodyguard, stuff like that. So I grew up in a household that watched musicals, horrors, sci-fi, you know, and obviously ridiculous action movies like Air Force One and stuff like that, and ridiculous sci-fi movies like Armageddon and stuff. Muppets Christmas Carol is fun. I agree with you. The original Annie movie is a good movie. The remake is terrible. I haven't watched the remake. There's only one Annie, as far as I'm concerned. They even have a sequel to the original Annie, which I've never watched either. It's like the never ending story. Now that movie has sequels, but it's the never ending story as far as I'm concerned. That's it. Some movies shouldn't have franchises, as I said. Um, but Annie is a great movie. Yeah, it's a cracking movie. I love The Sound of Music. It goes on for over 3 hours, but I do love The Sound of Music as well. I love the songs in that. Um, I love that movie actually. I haven't watched it in a while, so I'm gonna see. I'll watch that over the Christmas now. The Sound of Music is a movie I'll watch over the Christmas. I've already watched Santa Claus the movie, and I watched Fred Claus as well the other night. So I'm starting to watch me Christmas movies now, um, which is kind of fun. I love that. I have to admit, Christmas is stressful and all that, but the movies and all of that side of it, and eating Christmas dinner and all of that, and leading up to it, it's great. It's I like it. Um, I was a Kylie Minogue. No, yeah, I kind of got into her then when she came back. I have to say, when Kylie came back and she did "Can't Get You Out of My Head" and she started making cracking music after that. Yeah, she kind of had a mini revival then. But Kylie, yeah, a lot of people loved Kylie growing up. I wasn't a huge fan, but there you go. That's just me. But yeah, it's mad, mad. But yeah, so that's kind of what I do over the Christmas, and they're the kind of movies that we watch. You know. And I like a good horror movie myself as well. I'll watch a few horrors over the Christmas as well. I don't know what it is about watching horrors over the Christmas, but there's something, I don't know, gives it an extra bit. I don't know what it is, but I love watching horrors over the Christmas period. Um, it's great, especially because it's darker, I suppose, at night time. Well, it gets dark at 5 o'clock now, so like it's pretty dark. And you're sitting there in a dark room. Well, I love watching horrors. I love them. Cheryl can't do really scary horrors. So like and I hate people that scream all the time because I don't kind of react to horrors now because I'm immune. But I still like a decent horror, like. Yeah. So that's what I do. Well, before we head off, actually, why don't you tell me what Christmas what movies? What? Yeah, here's one for you, right? So obviously, I've kind of told you what I watch over the Christmas, what's essential to me. And by the way, I didn't even mention the Die Hard movies. I watched them as well over the Christmas and the Lethal Weapon movies, by the way. So I want to throw that out there as well, just in case people say, "Oh, you didn't mention them movies." I watched those movies as well over the Christmas. Okay, but what movies to you? And the Back to the Future trilogy as well gets thrown in there as well. Christmas because they show it on TV anyway over the Christmas. It's always either on BBC or it's on RTE over here. But one of those channels will always show the Back to the Future trilogy either leading up to Christmas or over the Christmas period anyway. So what are your go-to movies for Christmas, right? Or leading up to Christmas or movies that you just watch on Christmas Day? What are the movies? And I forgot to stick in Home Alone there as well, but I watched the two movies. I don't go past part two. Now I know part two is a kind of a rehash, but I do like Lost in New York, I have to say. It's not as good as the first one, but I still do like it. So what are the movies to you guys watch over the Christmas? Get her to watch Critters now. Never touching that franchise again. Thank you very much, Real Super Doctor. Never again, John. Never again. Not after the No way, man. Seriously, man. I like horror movies, but that was just fucking ridiculous, man. Critters was always ridiculous to me anyway, growing up, but never liked it. Um, but yeah, I mean, that was just awful. I don't know why you reminded me of that again. That was just awful, that movie, man. Jesus Christ, I'd rather watch that Titanic 666 movie or something, and that'll be absolutely ridiculous, it will, but it'll be better than with that bleeding critters crap. So Peter Harrington says, Rare Exports is a fab weird Christmas story, but Sims Scrooge is excellent. Black Christmas Horror Story, It's a Wonderful Life. Well, yeah, you know what? I actually said this on the channel before, but my brother is a fan of It's a Wonderful. I just don't get that movie. It's a Wonderful Life. I don't know how people why people like that movie. I don't get it. I don't. Maybe I'm just I just like other movies. Scrooged with Bill Murray. Yeah, I do like that version. But I do like A Christmas Carol, and I recently watched that movie as well. I watched two different versions. I watched the Patrick Stewart one and the Albert Finney version of A Christmas Carol. Um, I always watch that movie as well. Real Super Doctor says Gremlins for me. Yeah, that's another one that we'll watch over Christmas as well. Santa got run over by a reindeer animated movie, says Nicholas. Jesus, poor reindeer. I know they're all over the place, but that's me, lol. Yeah, Scrooge is good. It's good. Good movie. So as I said, yeah, I watched Santa Claus the movie the other day. I love that movie, man. That's my favorite Santa Claus movie. I know they have the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, and I do like the fourth Santa Claus movie. And the third movie is actually very good. The second movie was a bit of a letdown, but Santa Claus the movie with Dudley Moore in it. That's my favorite Santa Claus movie. I just love everything about that movie, man. Still, I was watching that movie the other night and I had a smile on my face when it come on. It was just brought me back to the good old days. So Daniel's list is Princess Bride, In Betweeners movie, Die Hard, The Dark Knight, The Empire Strikes Back are my Christmas go-tos. Uh, they're actually great choices, man, as well. And of course, they do show Star Wars over the holiday as well, don't they? They always do. And they always show Indiana Jones as well, which will be I'll watch the three movies. We don't talk about the Crystal Skulls, of course. Dudley Moore, yeah, he's in Santa Claus the movie. Yeah, he plays Patch, Santa Claus's assistant, but then he loses his job, and then yeah, I do like the Polar Express. Yeah, a lot of people like that movie. I remember watching it once. Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Ah, yeah, that's definitely a go-to movie. Good night, Daniel. That's definitely a go-to movie. That's a cracking movie. You can't have a Christmas without Christmas Vacation. No problem, Chris. You too, mate. And thanks for popping in. I really appreciate it. Real Super Doctor, brilliant. Good laugh. Yeah, that movie is a good laugh. Christmas Vacation is brilliant, actually. It is brilliant. I'll watch Trains, Planes, and Automobiles as well. That's another one because I didn't see anybody brought that up. That's another Christmas movie that I'll watch. But I do have some news for you. So the Noel Clark stream has been pushed now until the 10th of December, but it all depends on how far England get in the World Cup because we have to try work it in between England matches now. Um, so we'll just have to wait and see now how far England get in the World Cup now. But it's still going ahead. We're talking every day. Um, so it's gonna happen. We're just, as I said, we're just trying to figure out now what time we could do it now, and it'll depend, obviously, now because it's the 10th, so we have to see if England are still in the draw by then, and if they are, then we'll have to work around it somehow. Obviously, if England get knocked out, which I don't see happening anytime soon, but if they do, then it'll happen without any hesitation. But obviously, right now, with everything that's going on, obviously, you know, Noel is an England fan, obviously, being from the UK, so he's supporting his team. So we'll see how far they get in the World Cup. But that's going ahead. But tomorrow, I will be back because we're starting our new Christmas watch along. So we'll be back tomorrow for the Christmas invasion. So join me for that, and it'll be early. It won't be late night. It'll be early because we still have some football matches going on and stuff like that. Because everybody's watching. Well, everybody that I know has been watching the World Cup anyway. So yeah, it's getting to the nitty gritty part of it now. So it's getting exciting now. We're coming up to knockout football now, so this is where it'll get really good. PD is off as well. See you later. Interstate Christmas is not a bad film. Never really got into those movies, I have to say. Gonna be honest. So yeah, that's really everything. But yeah, I just obviously wanted to highlight what was going on. So thanks to everybody that has actually reported that Twitter account. Hopefully it's sorted out anyway. No, BM stores have some classic Who era figure sets in stock. Yeah, well, now that Cheryl's got the magazines out of the Who shop, there's aren't no want now. I'll get it. We're still waiting on that magazine, so and she got me something else because the magazine was you have to spend a certain amount in the store. That's the thing about it. So she had to buy something else to go with the magazine. But we're tracking it now at the moment, so we just have to wait now because apparently there's some sort of strike or something going on. So yeah, it's just bad timing, I suppose, and so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it's paid for and also it's gonna come just as a matter of time now. We just have to wait and see what happens. But as I said, we will be back tomorrow for the Christmas invasion. So yeah, join me for that. So get you our copies. Remember, we're doing every single Christmas special. So we start off tomorrow with the Christmas invasion, and we will keep doing them until we get to Peter Capaldi's last one, I suppose. And yeah, so join me for that because we were supposed to do it last year with multiple channels. We did actually do a Christmas special. I do remember we actually did a couple of Christmas specials, but we wanted to rope other channels in so we could all pick different Christmas specials to do, and people could then go on to each person's chat then, obviously, but it never worked out that way. So what I've just decided to do this year, just to make it simple, is we'll just do them all. And we'll be starting off with the Christmas invasion. So yeah, join me for that one. That'll be good. And then isn't it the Runaway Bride is the next one then, I think, if I'm correct in saying. So yeah. I hope we get Doctor Who Christmas specials again in the new RTD era. Well, remember, we did a report on this channel ages and ages ago, just to remind people, and it was reported on as well out there that RTD was trying to get the Christmas slot back, but it looks like that'll be for next year. But there has been an attempt made to get the Christmas slot back. Remember, the reason why Stephen Moffat came back and did that the last Christmas special was to keep the Christmas slot, but it made no difference anyway because Chibnall ignored it and went with New Year's Day instead. Therefore, Doctor Who lost the right to that Christmas slot. So RTD coming back now, obviously him and his team would like the Christmas specials back, because Doctor Who and Christmas specials go hand in hand anyway nowadays, especially the new Who era. It's become the both of them are connected now. Obviously we've had these 5 years where we've had to tolerate New Year's Day specials, unfortunately, but there you go. Christmas specials will, I hope, in the future, they will be coming back. Look, I think it's a guarantee now at this stage. If they're reporting that he's at the being trying to get, he'll get that back. Christmas and Doctor Who will be back. You will see Doctor Who back on, and where it belongs anyway. Because you know what the best thing about it was, right? You'd get up, right, open your presents and stuff like that, and you watch your TV and your movies and all of that. Have your dinner, yeah, and you'd have your dinner early on Christmas. Then you'd sit down, for the UK people, some of you will listen to the King or the Queen's speech at the time and blah, blah, blah. And then, then you'd look forward then to settling down in the evening to sit down and watch Doctor Who Christmas special, right? It was always a big thing in my house, man, with me anyway, right? And then my brothers then obviously start watching it then. Then it became a thing where after dinner then we'd go up to the room, we play a few video games, watch a bit of TV, and then get ready to watch Doctor Who. Get all our munchies together, sit down and watch the Christmas special. And that's the way it should be. So yeah, let's hope. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a guarantee now at this stage that we'll get Christmas specials again, and rightly so. It's where it belongs. Doctor Who Christmas Day. It's where it belongs. And I do look. Am I a fan of every single Christmas special? Absolutely not. Right, but again, even some of the bad Christmas specials are still actually decent. You're limited to what you could do with a Christmas special. I think that's the thing, because it's so, you've kind of you've set it. It's Christmas, so the episode's gonna focus on Christmas. It is kind of hard to write, and maybe you would run out of ideas eventually, and you'd have to try change it up a little bit. But we haven't had one in a while now, and I think RTD refreshed could actually give us a decent Christmas special. Have you seen the trailer for the new Super Mario Brothers movie? I have. I thought the first trailer was better. Right. I'll make this brief. The movie itself looks like it's actually going to be good, right? And it features a lot of things that if you played the games throughout the years growing up and stuff like that, it has everything in the movie that you'd want in a Mario movie. The problem I have is Super Mario. Chris Pratt. Now, I know this is being debated online, and I haven't really said anything about it, right? But I've grown up with Mario. Everybody knows I've spoken about that franchise on here, the games, right? I'm a Super Mario fan, right? I have the original game there, and I have Super Mario 3, right? I have those original games, right? I have a little Nintendo thing that I play those games on. I thought I broke it, but I managed to get it working again. I don't know what happened, but it works now, right? But I have those games, right? I grew up with Super Mario. I grew up with all the Mario. games, right? And when they went from different, I even played the Game Boy version of Mario when they had it on the Game Boy. I've played every single game that they've had of Mario, except for 3D, obviously. I didn't play 3D because that was me brother's kind of console, so I kind of didn't play it then when it was out, when they did it on that. But I've played Mario on the Wii as well, right? So I played on this. I played Super Mario 1 and 2 on the old Game Boy, exactly like me. And then when it came out on the DS as well, I played it on the DS, right? I played Super Mario World as well. Played them all, right? Except the one that I mentioned. And a couple of the other ones that they've brought out. And I've even played the mobile version of Mario Kart, right? Love Mario Kart as well. Mario Kart fan as well, right? So I love the game, right? I love the franchise. My problem is with Chris Pratt and your guy that plays Luigi. Now, look, I'm not one of these people that say, that, you should have certain people play certain roles and stuff like that. But if you're going to get an actor in to do an Italian accent, could you make sure that they can actually do an Italian accent? Because that's what's thrown me off this movie. Now, someone said, I think it was Tom from Midnight's Edge, someone says he was replying to a post or retweeting a post where someone says that Chris Pratt's voice sounded a lot better in that trailer. And Tom and obviously Midnight's Edge have been talking about that franchise, and they've obviously been saying that his voice, you would see an improvement in his voice. But I actually have to disagree. I don't see an improvement in his voice. I think his Italian accent is actually shite. And here's the thing: I would rather him not have done an Italian accent at all and just used his own voice, because they're trying to do an Italian accent actually makes it. He might win me over. The movie looks great. I'm not going to lie. The movie looks great. It, they've tried a live action before. Obviously, the Bob Hoskins one, with Dennis Hopper. And look, I have a soft spot for that movie. I'm not going to lie. It's an atrocious Mario movie, but I have a soft spot for that movie, and I always will, just like I do for Popeye with Robin Williams. Like, they're two absolute crap movies, right? But I have a soft spot for them, and I will defend them on certain level, right? But I'm just worried that the fake accent is going to throw a lot of people off, because it's clearly fake. And I'm not saying they should hire Italian actors to play the roles, but what I'm saying is, Jesus Christ, you could have got someone in that could actually do an Italian accent. Because Chris Pratt cannot do an Italian accent. That's like trying to get Colin Farrell to do an American accent. Colin Farrell has tried to do an American accent for decades and cannot do an American accent. He is absolutely rubbish. Liam Neeson is the same. It's why they cast him in the movies that they do, right? There's certain actors and certain actresses out there that unfortunately do not have the craft to put an accent on, right? We seen Tom Cruise years ago murder an Irish accent, right? And we've seen plenty of other Hollywood actors trying to murder an Irish accent. It doesn't work. People laugh at those movies. Far and away, the one that Tom Cruise was in, where he put on the Irish accent, that's laughed at. That movie is actually pretty decent. But what throws everybody off is the fact that he puts on a fake Irish accent, and it's awful. It's absolutely awful, right? Richard Gere did an Irish accent in the Day of the Jackal with Bruce Willis, right? He puts on it. He's supposed to be an IRA man, and he puts on this horrible Irish accent, right? That movie is pretty good, but that horrible Irish accent just throws you off, and it will throw some audience members off, and it will throw fans off. So yeah, I actually have strong feelings on this because look, after the success of Sonic the Hedgehog, right? Now I've played Sonic the Hedgehog. Am I as much of a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog as I am as Mario? Absolutely not. But those two Sonic the Hedgehog movies were absolutely brilliantly done. And that's the way you should do a video game movie. They were brilliant. They were brilliant. I love both of them equally. Right? Some will have their favourite. I love both equally. We did the two movies in a watch along here a few months back. I love those movies. So when they announced that there was going to be when Nintendo and Illuminate announced that there was going to be a Super Mario movie, I was absolutely psyched. And as I said, the first trailer was absolutely amazing. But then when I heard Pratt's voice, I was like, oh, okay, it's great, but that accent is just not good enough. And then obviously the second trailer came out and I watched it. It's a longer trailer. Actually, I think they gave too much away in the second trailer. They should have held off. I even seen people on Twitter comment about it, and I absolutely agree. They should have kept the Mario Kart stuff out of that trailer and kept that as a surprise for the audience. It feels to me that they're showing too much, and when a movie like that shows too much in the trailer, I get worried. I get very worried indeed. So I'll watch it, right? And I'll give it a chance. And look, the Chris Pratt accent thing might go out the window because the movie is so good and I'll be able to ignore it. But if he couldn't do an Italian accent, I just can't understand why they just didn't say, well, just look, just use your own accent. Just try, take the essence of Mario and the way he talks and incorporate it into your own voice. I just think Chris Pratt's voice is going to turn. Because, look, there's a lot of fans like myself. Mario, even when some people are criticizing even the way Mario looks to a certain extent. He doesn't look right or something and stuff like that. You're going to have fans like that. And there's going to be fans that are going to have a problem with his voice. Now, well, from what I've heard, I'm just saying, I just think his voice is going to throw a few people off. I think they got Sonic the Hedgehog's voice absolutely spot on when they did that movie. I just don't feel right now that Chris Pratt is going to be able to pull this off. That's what I can't understand, Nicholas. You make a good point there. I don't get that, man. I don't know why they need a big name actor to come in and play Mario. You could literally have gotten, as you said, the voice actor to play Mario for the movie, and people would still watch it because it's a Super Mario movie. But Hollywood feels like they have to get in these big names for these movies to do well. And you know what? Maybe they are right. Maybe they are right. We would never know, of course. But the movie, look, the first trailer was great because it didn't give too much away. And I thought that was enough to give the audience, but they decided to drop a second trailer that's over 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Like, that worries me. That worries me. They gave way too much away in that second trailer. Way too much away. There was loads of surprises in that second trailer. And I think they just gave too much away. But I'll watch it because I'm a Super Mario fan and I hope it does well. And I hope it's just as well as received as Sonic the Hedgehog and does well. Because a Mario movie is overdue. A proper, decent Mario movie. After the Bob Hopkins one, I think that was kind of. I don't think people ever thought we'd get another big crack at a Mario movie, but now we do. And I just feel like, they have to be getting everything right this time round. Because if they mess this one up, then yeah, there's no coming back for a Mario movie, in my opinion. They'll just keep doing the animations or whatever. But there'll be no animation cartoons and stuff like that or whatever they do. It's just not. In Japan, they've got the original voice there for the movie, and possibly other countries doing the same. Well, look. If that's the case, that's brilliant, man. Because I'd watch that version, even if I'd had to have the subtitles on. I would watch that version. I'll give Chris Pratt a go. Look, I've nothing against him. I know he's been getting stick online and stuff. I don't bother with any of that. I judge them on their acting. I like Chris Pratt, I have to say myself. He was in a movie with Jennifer Lawrence that not many people like, Passengers, with Michael Sheen. I actually like that movie. Well, I'd say I have a soft spot for that movie, and he's pretty good in that movie. I liked him in that movie. I like Chris Pratt, Guardians of the Galaxy. I like the stuff he's in. It's just I just hope that he's able to get it right. Because for me in that second trailer, yes, it had a bit more of an Italian tang to it, but you could still tell it was Chris Pratt, and he's not supposed to sound like Chris Pratt. He's Mario. He's supposed to sound like Mario. So we'll see. But I can't wait to see it. Hopefully it's good. Better not be a letdown. As I said, you know, this is overdue. So hopefully they get a spot on. Because I'll be gutted. I'll be gutted, man. I'll be good. I'll just stick to the games then. Which I do anyway. I love playing Mario 3. Mario 3 is really hard though. The first few worlds are great. But when you start getting to midsection of Mario 3, it starts getting hard. But I love Mario. Love Mario. I've never stopped playing. I remember the first time I got me Nintendo and I played the original Mario, Super Mario Brothers, or Bros, as it was called. Um, I remember playing that first one, and then when you cleared it completely, then it was the helmet shells. Then you got to do it again, but it was all helmet shells. And you go through it again. Then obviously Super Mario 2 came out, but it was a different game originally. But then they framed it, they made it into a Super Mario 2 game, which is not as good. It had some good rounds in it, I have to say, but overall, Super Mario 2 was a letdown. But then they brought out Super Mario 3, and you could, then you had the little costumes you could put Mario in, you could fly, you know, you had the raccoon tail, you could break bricks with your tail and all that, and you could fly into secret levels and all of this stuff. I love Super Mario 3, man. Yeah, the last world is dark. Um, that's the hardest one. But But yeah, collect all the pills. But that's yeah, I like to do that. I actually do what did they call the free run? I could do a couple of free runs on well, I can actually do most of the levels on free run most of the levels on Super Mario. Super Mario 3 is a little bit more difficult, but there's certain rounds that I can free run all the way through without obviously dying and stuff. Um, but I just bleed and love that franchise. I love that game franchise. Love Super Mario. Love it. The big giant world as well, where you big giant Mario. I love it, man. The underwater levels are not as hard as everybody makes them out to be. See, the secret is to swim and then stop and then float your way through, then swim, float your way, keep floating your way through. You can actually get through those levels without dying, believe it or not. Um, but yeah, they are the ones where you have to run with the flying fish. Now that one is awkward because you have the small flying fish and then you have the big huge fish that you have to avoid as well. I still got my SNES and it works nearly 30 years on. Oh, you jammy. I've been trying to get my hands on one of them for ages. They have a few shops over here, but that's what I'd like to get because you remember the cartridge that you got? You got all the Mario games on one cartridge you did. Um, and I love that because it was handy. You could play, you put the cartridge in, you could pick whatever one you wanted to play. And I loved it because they did Mario 1, they updated it obviously for the SNES, and it looks deadly. Mario on the SNES, Super Mario on the SNES looks dead great compared to the NES. Man, you have me all nostalgic now. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. The good old days, folks. The good old days. The old Commodore 65s and the Ataris. Then you had Sega Mega Drive, Sega Mega Drive 2, and all the other versions of it that they had. You know, good old days, man. When we used to just play games for fun, do you remember? There was none of this, like, playing online nonsense and having to buy a lot of shit. And when you actually bought a game, the game was completed. Like, it wasn't like stick it in and it has to get an update every so often. Mad, mad, man. They ruined gaming with the model that they have now. I'll throw a picture of it. It's Super Mario. That's exactly what it was called. You're absolutely spot on, and you do have a. Now I'm jealous, man. Man, that brings me back a long way, man. They were the good old days, man. Then your mates would come in and watch you play, or you'd play around each with your mates. You take a round each, and then you'd go to their gaff. Then they'd have a different computer, or it'd either be Sega or whatever it was, and then you'd play levels on theirs. It was great. It was great, man. Yeah, stick a picture up, man, because that'll be deadly. Bit of nostalgia there. Anyway, we'll leave it there because I did say I was going to go about bleeding half an hour ago, but as we always do on this channel, we always end up talking about other stuff as well. But yeah, as I said, everybody just keep if you're on Twitter, just report that account. Hopefully, it gets taken down. Absolutely disgusting. Um, but yeah, we'll do one of these streams again. Not obviously what we spoke about at the start, but I mean, we'll talk about all of this other stuff, movies and games again, because this was actually interesting. Be interesting to see um what uh computers people had or what gaming gaming consoles they had grown up and what games they played. Um Great, man. Good old days, man. Yeah. Anyway, we will leave it there for now. We'll be back tomorrow. So, yeah, if anybody wants to join me actually for the Christmas invasion, let me know. It'll be earlier, obviously, during the day. I might be able to. I think the matches are a couple of hours apart now, anyway. Now, so maybe between 5 and 6, we'll see. I'll put the stream up an hour, obviously, before we start. And if anybody wants to come on and is available at that time, and you want to come on and watch the Christmas invasion with me, you're more than welcome to do so. Let me know, and yeah, I'll keep you in mind. So we'll leave it there for now, and we will talk to you tomorrow. So enjoy the rest of your evening. For you guys that are in the US, because these are a few hours, obviously, good few hours behind us. Obviously, people in the UK, it's 1 o'clock. So good night to all you guys, and get a good night's sleep. And we shall talk to you all tomorrow. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as I said, yeah, we will see you tomorrow. So have a good one, folks. Night, night. Bye. Thank you.